Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devindra Hardawar. Our normal host, Managing Editor Terrence O'Brien, is lost in a bar this week. Just many, many bars.
Yes.
But I have a good roundup of editors here, so why don't we go around the table? Let's introduce ourselves.
Hi, Nathan Ingraham, Senior Editor at Engadget, and I'm really missing Uncle Terry today, not going to lie.
Poor Uncle Terry.
Yeah.
I'm Cherlynn Low, Reviews Editor, and I'm super stoked that Terrence isn't here.
Ooh.
Super happy.
So mean.
Not at all, I'm just kind.
Everyone out there knows me. I am Dana Wollman, Managing Editor, and I am delighted to be doing both my work and Uncle Terry's work.
Dana
this
is
week.
writing a post as we're recording this.
I'm actually
Super
finishing a
multitasker.
review coming soon to
Okay.
Engadget.
Keep your eyes peeled. People.
Yeah.
Screw you, Terry.
So many reviews
Wow.
this month. Jeez. Okay, let's go to our first segment, Flame Wars, which is our sort of like debate section. Just two people taking positions on some of this week's news. But the first one, Google's Allo messaging app. Do we need another messaging app? What the heck is going on here, guys? Could you break it down for us?
Yeah, so it's going to be me and Cherlynn today, so look out.
I already
Okay.
gave up on this segment, so I know I'm going to lose.
Well, that's a good attitude. Anyway, all right, I'm pro Allo. I got to use it for about a week, and I really thought that the Google Assistant brought in stuff that no other messaging app has. It's not fully baked yet, like a lot of Google things when they launch, but it's got potential to be a killer feature that other apps don't have.
All right, good time, Nate. Oh, also, after 20 seconds, I will just hit this buzzer sound.
I'm not going to let you use
It's
that.
our best sound effect.
Yes.
True.
In our high budget
Yep.
podcast creation tool right here.
It's not even the best.
It's so great.
It's pretty good.
It's
Yeah,
pretty great.
it's
Okay,
the only
so
one.
I hear you, Nate. What do you say about this, Cherlynn?
I used Allo for a week as well with Nate, and none of my friends are there except Nate and I. It was awful. It was terrible. That's the thing, is you need people to use the app for it to take off, and I don't think that Allo really will, because there's so many messaging apps out there right now.
You guys.
So,
It's like
Yeah.
12
so
seconds each.
that's a super fair point, but I'll respond to that saying that Google's actually doing something interesting to sort of decrease the friction to getting started with Allo. Devindra and I actually tested this out earlier. So if you're on iOS at least, you just pulls up your contact list and you can hit contact's name and send them a message, and it actually delivers that message via SMS. So not just like sending a like, oh, please install this app to try it out thing. It actually says like, here's what I said, and you can reply on your phone and I'll get it. So you can actually go from Allo to SMS and back. So then at a certain point, Devindra can install it if he wants to, but he's not going to miss the conversation if for some reason
Right.
That's pretty cool. Although
But-
I found it funny, I signed up for the app. The conversation I was having with Nate didn't show up in Allo, and if it was going to be really smart, I feel like that should carry over too, right?
The thing is, that sounds like, that sounds like talking to Android user on iMessage, right? It's like you'll still get the message. It's a green bubble instead of a blue one, and you won't get all the features. You won't have the stickers. It won't be as fun. So what's the point then?
The point is to get started on getting people over to the app. It's better than nothing, I would say. No?
Nate, I want you to back up on one thing, which
Yeah.
is that when you were writing this story and I was editing it, I first saw the phrase "the Google Assistant" with the use of the word "the," and it's you sounded a bit fuddy-duddy. You sounded a little bit like, I don't know, some sort of low-tech person, but that's actually the real name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they call it...
You
yeah,
have to
this
call
was
it the
introduced
Google
This
Assistant.
is introduced to Google I/O. It's called the Google Assistant. It doesn't have another name, doesn't have like a Siri or Cortana like proper name. It's called Google Assistant or the Google Assistant. It does sound a little fuddy-duddy, doesn't it, now that I'm saying it out loud?
But that also speaks to how fuddy-duddy the Google Assistant was during our testing of it. Like, it wouldn't take a joke. It wasn't like you would
I
feedback
thought
on its
it was
comments.
pretty good.
It was good, but didn't have the sass that Siri has. It wasn't like
That's
It
maybe
doesn't have
fair,
Cherlynn
yeah.
sass, so... I
Well,
don't
no
know.
one can have Cherlynn
Yeah.
sass. Let's be real.
We decided this week while we were testing that Cherlynn's favorite phrase is just ugh. Because that's what the auto reply would suggest for her constantly, just like ugh. And I think that might be a reflection of how we were feeling about the app, perhaps.
It may also be, I think it's just reading your texting history too, probably, right? So that's how Cherlynn
it-
responds to everything.
It learns from...
Don't know me so well, guys.
It learns from the messages you send to suggest replies, not just it tries to like learn your voice, like what you might say. So.
Okay, so that's one of the cooler features, that it suggests responses within text for you. But during our testing, it didn't seem to be really that useful. All it did was give one-word responses like, haha, ugh, wow. So I could type that myself. It's 3 letters. I don't really need to. So if one of your like big selling points is not all that useful, I don't see why people are going to adopt it. I don't see how you're going to draw
Okay,
people
so
to
Google-
Dana, where you weigh in on all of this? Because you have to decide who wins this debate.
I'm willing to revisit. I think for now I need to side with Cherlynn, just because it would seem that the Google Assistant is less smart in practice than Google would claim. But I'm willing to revisit if over time the Assistant becomes smarter.
Right, and that's a fair point. But whatever, I win. Also, Dana today told me before we started this recording that she's sitting on the side of her favorite child. Well, but she's...
Is that me?
On Nate's
What's
side
happening?
of the table.
Nate is the child.
The top two of my top two favorites of three.
Your whole flock of children.
She's flanked by her top two favorite of the three people that are here on this podcast.
So you're on the outs.
Den Mother
Basically,
Dana Wollman. Yes.
She hates me.
I just didn't want to sit
But
next
she
to the
just
black
awarded
sheep.
you a point, so.
Oh,
Yes, there you go.
But I gave you a point.
Yeah.
But
Threw
that
you a
means you're
bone.
not going to award me any more points.
Is there
from
anything
here
else
on
you
out.
want to bring up something around this, Dana?
No, actually.
Okay. All right. Let's
All
move
right.
on
Yep.
to macOS Sierra. That's coming. Is that this week?
It
Came out this week.
Okay.
It came out on Tuesday, and I reviewed it, so I have thoughts, but I'll let you
have lots of
guys
Yes. So
duke
is
it out.
Is it a good upgrade? Is it a minor upgrade? Let's hear the pro side first, Nathan.
Yeah, so I think as with all Mac OS updates, they're all pretty good. Like Dana said in her review, there's no reason not to upgrade. But I think that a lot of things people might consider minor actually will make a big difference day to day. Like that's kind of the story of Mac OS updates, in my opinion. I think that the photos improvements are really good. Apple Music is way better now. iCloud backing up your entire desktop and documents folder, I think will probably save a lot of people from losing data.
Sorry,
Wow.
Nate. Yes.
I got the buzz.
Got to hit it. Okay.
Well, those are my main points. So
All right.
over to Cherlynn.
Go, Cherlynn.
First of all, iCloud's backing up your entire desktop would force more people to pay more money for iCloud storage, right? So I don't like that. And then second of all, a lot of the features still don't really work really well. I heard, like Dana mentioned, that Siri is not that smart yet, even though I kind of like her. Also, it's an incremental update rather than anything revolutionary. Bye. I'm out.
You really didn't want to get buzzed,
Wow.
did you?
Cherlynn saw my hand inching
Yeah.
towards the buzzer button, and then she stopped. Nate, you should probably follow that too if you don't want to get buzzed in the future.
Watch
Just pay
your hand,
attention
yeah.
to the buzzer
watching
hand.
Devindra
I don't
is what
mind
he's
getting
saying.
buzzed.
All right.
It's fine with me.
Yeah. So Dana, you actually reviewed Sierra.
Yeah.
Any thoughts to add?
So, I would say I didn't find Siri that smart. I mean, Siri can respond to single questions in relatively natural language. She has her repertoire. It has its repertoire. I don't want to feminize it.
Yeah.
But Siri wasn't always that smart or that helpful. For instance, I could search for movie times, but couldn't narrow down the search to theaters in my neighborhood, which I would have liked to do. I didn't think, well, now I really like auto unlock, allowing me to unlock a Mac with my watch, but it took me a long time to set up. And between you and me, I chatted with some other reviewers who were reviewing it at the same time, and they also had problems. So it was't just me.
Yeah, I read a bunch of reviews, and that was
I
a
had to
common
reset
issue.
my whole iCloud password
Wow.
to get it to work, which
Okay.
That's not good.
is not that user friendly. And then Apple Pay on the web is actually pretty cool, but just be warned, it is really conducive to
It's dangerous.
impulse buys because there are just far fewer confirmation screens when you're purchasing to click through. So it's like pay with Apple Pay, boom, like here's all your payment information. Do you want to
drunk-
confirm this
Like
purchase?
your late night
But let's
drunk
be-
orders. Will
Do
get a
you
lot
want this
worse.
$100 pair of Lululemon yoga leggings?
But let's be clear, that sounds like it's a win because I get so tired of buying things online and having
Sure.
to put in all my info over and over again. Like, if you're going to buy something online, you might as well
Our
make it
cruel
easy.
You
modern
probably
world.
don't have a shopping problem though.
As someone with a shopping problem, I'd like to chime in. I already find it easy enough to shop online with Chrome because it stores my passwords. I know you're not really supposed to do that, but it already fills
It
out.
does,
well.
and they store credit card information now
Right,
too.
and
in
billing
Chrome.
information.
Yeah, I
securely.
mean, it's convenient. I wouldn't argue that what Apple is doing is any more convenient than paying with PayPal or Amazon payments.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a similar
But
deal.
you're signing in with your fingerprint rather than a password, right? So that's nice, aren't you?
On the desktop?
On the desktop, does it? Oh,
To confirm, you
There's
hit
no-
you hit the touch on your phone, right?
Right, you could confirm either on your phone or your Apple Watch. It just has to be an iOS device that was
Okay.
already Apple Pay enabled.
Okay. I mean, I still I have to admit, I'm a PC user, and these new features like Universal Clipboard and the optimized storage seem really interesting, but they're not enough to win me over, I don't think.
Let's talk about the storage a little bit, just because
Yeah.
my favorite feature in the new upgrade is actually one of the least sexy.
Oh, yeah?
It's just that now you have to opt into this, but you can have your desktop and documents folder automatically all back up to iCloud, essentially having your Mac work more like Dropbox.
Right.
As you say, you kind of have to then go all in for the extra
Need enough
iCloud
storage,
storage.
right? Yeah.
But if you do that, it's convenient. Me personally, I'm paying 99 cents a month for my iCloud storage, so it doesn't feel like a big hit.
How much is that? How
me.
much does that get you? 10
many
gigs?
gigs?
I think that's 50.
50?
Yeah, whatever it is, it's
$4 gets you 200, which is probably enough for most people to back up their
Entire-
desktop.
Well, you want
Yeah.
your iPhone space there too, like ideally.
Plus your
iPhone
photo
space
library.
Plus, desktop stuff.
adds up quick.
Yeah.
I've refused. I pay for Google Drive storage, but I refuse to do iCloud. I don't know why.
well, that makes sense that you don't want to pay for two platforms at once.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would agree.
Yeah.
I pay for all the platforms at once. It's horrible. I have like 3 music services.
Okay,
3
so you do have a
Dropboxes.
shopping problem.
I do. Yeah, it's just for internet services apparently.
For
Yeah.
tech stuff.
So Dana, who wins in this battle?
I mean, this is really unfair because the whole thesis of my review that I wrote was that
Yes.
it's a minor upgrade. So Cherlynn just happened to
Aw,
agree
man.
with me, but
You
Not
picked
your
them
week.
today too.
This is not your week, Nate.
It's totally not.
You
my
picked
week.
the standpoints today too.
I'm just going to say that if you're somebody who uses a lot of Apple's products, then every macOS update is pretty good. If you ask me, it adds a lot of things.
but this
that
has been a
work.
lively, smart discussion.
Yeah.
I think.
There we go.
I
Listeners,
think Nate
Cherlynn-
makes
Rare
good
thing.
points.
Yeah,
A rare
Cherlynn is
thing.
literally
Yeah.
dancing on her chair as she gets this point. So it
First
doesn't
of all,
happen often. So
I always
I'll let
like
her celebrate.
let the other person I'm arguing with pick the standpoint first, like the side they want to be on.
I think I
first,
did this
and
last time too. So like in the future, I'm not going to
Yeah.
prep at all for this
Yeah.
because it's not working out for me. My record is steadily dropping.
All right. Final
All right.
topic: Google's Pixel phones.
Yes.
We know there's a Google event coming in 2
October
weeks?
4th.
October
October
4th.
4th.
Gotcha. So that's more news for us to prepare for.
Yep.
But yeah, we've also seen some leaks of these things too.
Quite a few.
They look pretty dull and silly. I don't know, just pretty vanilla at this point. But what do you guys think? Like, does Google have any chance at making a high-end phone work once again? And kind
So I
of,
think before we kick off the debate, we should note that the rumor we're discussing now specifically is that they're going to be more expensive than the Nexus phones have been in the past, starting at $650,
hence
which
the
is
new branding, yeah.
what the
Branding.
iPhone 7 starts
And
at.
Pixel has been there, like Nate, you're rocking the Pixel C for some reason. Pixel has been their brand for
Since the
really
Chromebook.
expensive hardware
Yeah. Premium,
that
yeah.
doesn't quite make sense. Maybe they should come up with a better name. But yeah, who's pro?
I'm
for
pro
this?
on this because
Go.
I let Nate pick con. Anyway.
Okay, go for it.
So Google has always done really well with the Nexus phones by providing a really pure stock Android experience that people love. And people don't go to the Nexus line just because it's cheap. They want that really good interface that works well with like the hardware. So for higher end hardware to come in, we would have better builds and better cameras. That would mean a really good thing for people who are pure Android fans. Woohoo!
Just under the buzzer.
Holla.
So on my end, I will say that, the Nexus phones have always been one of the best bangs for the buck out there in the smartphone world. And not having that lower cost option, I think, is really going to kind of hurt Google in this case. It'd be a bummer if there was no way to get like the really pure stock Android experience for $350 or $400. And a higher price could mean that even less people try these phones than already are. So I think they might be kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little.
So two things. I think that this doesn't
me.
mean that they're getting rid of the Nexus line. So you might still have the $350
Possible,
or $400
yeah.
experience
Yep.
with Android. It just means that they're offering something new and different with the Pixel line. The other thing is it's nice to have different options to hopefully enjoy Project Fi on. Because I want
yes.
more Project Fi phones.
Sure.
That's all I want.
That's a good argument.
Aha!
No, I mean, and I think that, as nice as a lot of the recent Nexus phones have been, it seems like there's always some sort of fatal flaw in them one way or another.
Yeah.
Although I got to say, the 5X and the 6P feel like they finally
good.
got
The
They're good.
6P.
the,
Yeah.
well, the price and the pricing accurately reflects what you get for the device, and the
Yeah.
6P at its I think it starts at $500. Like that's still a lot of good phone for that money.
They're fast. They have good displays. The build quality is
But
good. Their
they-
camera's still not that great.
I mean, the Nexus 6P didn't have a terrible camera. It had really big
It's
pixel
okay.
size.
Especially
It's
when you
okay.
compare it though to what Samsung is doing now and what Apple's doing with the
But
phone-
it doesn't
phones.
mean that like people who want that pure Android should be stuck with a phone that looks bland and isn't altogether the most sexy. I hate using the word sexy now for phones, but it's
That's
not
fine.
the
I
best
mean,
looking.
but it's also like it's 2016. Can phones surprise us anymore? I don't know. Like we're a little
It's a
bored with
bigger
iPhone
question,
at this
though.
point. Yeah. That's the bigger question. But anyway, Dana, where do our contenders stand?
I mostly agree with Nate on this one. I think that it would be a real shame if there were no spiritual successors to the Nexus phones, affordable, pretty high quality phones that didn't cost that much. The only thing I would say is that there are spiritual successors in other brands like OnePlus.
True.
It's interesting now to think about who Google with these phones is really competing with. There are plenty of beautiful high-end options from Samsung, HTC. There are lower-cost options from OnePlus. Who am I leaving out?
The Motorola ones are relatively affordable.
Motorola
ZTE,
and ZTE,
Huawei,
right?
Xiaomi.
Okay.
So I
Maybe
think there's
we
a
don't
bigger
need the Nexus line
there's
anymore.
a bigger question of does Google still need to be doing this? Is its work here done?
I would
they've
say they
already
do.
been doing vanilla
Yeah,
software
they're
with
the only
some
ones
other
that
brands
still do
too.
super
So.
stock.
A few of their companies, like I think Motorola's is pretty clean, but yeah, for the most part, if you want to get fast software updates, actually,
Exactly.
Nexus is the only way to
It's
go.
all about the software updates. They're going to be the first to get Android Nougat. Oh, well, V20, the LG V20 has it, but
That's
it's
an
pure
exception
stock.
to the rule.
No
That
one's
would be
going to buy
pure
that.
I mean, right. I think for the stock experience alone, Google knows its own software and doesn't. People prefer the stock experience.
Cherlynn
but-
is just gesturing suggestively at Dana right now, trying to get that third
So many
vote.
gestures. Cherlynn's also making a knife
guys-
motion across her throat, pointing at Nate. I don't know
Stop
what that means.
misleading the podcast listeners.
I don't know what that means.
For the real deal, you should
I'm going to
watch
say
it.
point Nate, but another close call on
Okay.
this one.
All right.
It's okay. I won overall.
Yeah.